Hello and welcome back to Seeker and Confessor. This is episode 7. My name's Lauren.
And I'm Frank.
And today we are going to be discussing chapters 10 and 11 of Wizard's First Rule.
That's correct.
Something dangerous just fell on the floor.
Everything I do is dangerous.
Right.
Because I'm Chase.
And I'm Emma Blackstone? Emma...
Something Stone.
Emma Brandstone, Chase's beautiful milfy wife.
That's correct.
We're sad because we had really old, like spray-on gray, silver.
Yeah, we were gonna both be two silver
hair.
foxes for you.
Yeah,
but,
we were gonna do our hair.
It expired.
Gray to show you, you know, that we're, I don't know, wise,
wizened and dangerous.
Yeah,
and sexy.
But it sort of melted all over Frank's face because it's old.
Yep.
And then we gave up on that. I guess I kind of look like Kaylin, but you can tell I'm not Kaylin because my hair is up.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. And
Kaylin
then he also kind
that.
of looks like Richard.
No, but as you can tell, I'm not wearing
he's not
any shirt underneath like Richard would.
And he has the strap across his chest that
with
knives go in.
Many knives.
So that's obviously Chase.
Just like Chase. Yep.
And Emma was wearing a beautiful gossamer white nightgown, which I don't own. This made me realize that I should own one.
Yeah, one's on the way, I'm sure.
But I don't, so this sheet will have to get the idea across.
And it is. It looks elegant on you. You're pulling it off quite well, wife.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess...
Wait, why does Chase's wife have a last name, but Chase does not?
I don't know. I thought, is that his last name?
It never says Chase Brandstone.
I don't know.
It just says, this is my friend Chase and his wife, Emma Brandstone.
Yeah, I was confused by that as well.
It's like the inverse of Curly's wife.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, so like...
Yeah. Or
not, because it's sort of like Chase is just so fantastic. He's like Madonna. He just needs one name.
Fuck.
He's just Chase.
You might be right.
That's it. Emma needs the last name.
Do you think the ladies chase him around? Is that where he got that name?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
We're getting ahead of ourselves, though.
But yeah, but also I just thought, I'm like, is the fact that Emma's in a white dress supposed to be a parallel with Kaylin? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought of it, except when I put it on, I was like, oh, I kind
Emma herself draws a lot of parallels with Kaylin, but we'll get there.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, this doesn't happen until chapter 11. We still have to talk about chapter 10.
We're not even close.
Let's think. I have to think. What did we leave off with last time? Well, yeah, okay. We mostly just left off with...
Yeah, it was more sword introductions. Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
And then Richard said, like...
Tell me how the magic works.
Something like
Wizard.
That. Yeah.
Wizard. Something cool like that, but delivered far better than
Yeah, so then we just roll on in to them still hanging out at Zedd's house. And we start off... Wait, Chase is not here right now. He's not here yet.
You're very right. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so we start off with Richard's putting on his baldric, which I didn't know what that was. I had to look it up, which is just like the strap across...
The strap, right?
The chest that has the sword
the
on your back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they make a point when Zedd is like strapping it on him to be like whoever was wearing it before Richard was smaller than him. Which
I missed that.
I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be like, oh, why was that guy so small? Or am I just supposed to be like, oh my God, Richard's so huge?
Probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Richard's much bigger. Well, the last one was the guy who fell in love with the big booby sorceress. Yes. So clearly, I think the implication is, wow, what a beta loser.
Mm-hmm. And Richard
is Chadley in comparison.
Yeah. So then I thought it was weird because we have that commentary about Richard's like size, and then we have one right after. It was like this insignificant comment where he's like describing like two little like maple trees, and he says that one was as thick as Richard's wrist and the other was as thin as Kaylin's.
Oh, little size king comparison.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that will become important. we really need to heighten just how different their sizes are.
Why?
For the test.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could have been part of it. Well, yeah, so there's a test.
Yep, there's a test.
And I think it's interesting because in order to go into this demonstration that Zedd wants to do, he tells Richard he has to temporarily say he's not the Seeker and make Kaylin the Seeker. And I was like, is it just this lax?
Yeah, it feels like it is. As long as you have the wizard there, he can just willy-nilly shift it around.
The wizard needs to be there?
He names the Seeker, right?
Right, but at the same time, that just seems like... How meaningful is that? Because Zedd left and they were naming Seekers without him.
That's a great point.
So,
but not true Seekers.
But I guess they were also wizards, though. So maybe a wizard has to be
You got to have some sort of... Maybe there's like a spell.
Yeah.
But then again, he wasn't spelling around as far as I could tell.
I just thought that it was weird that... He could just so casually be like, I'm not Seeker anymore.
We have all this build-up. We give Richard the sword. He unleashes his mighty rage. And then it's like, next chapter, it's like, oh, you want me to show you how it works? Give me that back real quick.
Yeah, you're not Seeker
Let me just show you real quick like how this works, but you got to give it up.
Yeah, so then Zedd, once again, he's talking to Kaylin. How many times does this man put his finger under somebody's chin?
My first note is right out the gate, Rizmaster risen all over these two tykes.
But he does
immediately
it a lot.
And I hate to tell you, I have started something called Moments of Riz.
Oh, okay.
And this is the first moment of Riz in the chapter.
Anytime he does the chin thing,
well, it's not just Zedd. I think now from now on, I'm going to keep a count. If something earns a moment of Riz from me, I will denote it. And this was the first moment of Riz.
Okay, well, he's, goes up to Kaylin. He's lifting her chin up with his finger again. And he's basically, like, shows her a tree. And he's like, just so you know, this tree was planted here by Darkenrahl to keep track of me.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about that?
And Darkenrahl, who murdered your sister, and is coming after you.
So then what happens?
So Kaylin just does the old samurai.
Yeah, right.
And then before anyone even knew it, she blasts through the tree, and it made some sort of wood explosion noise.
Yeah.
And she fells a mighty maple that Richard says would have taken him at least 10 swings with a sharp axe to fell.
Right, so it's big.
Which, to me, I'm like, I don't fell trees myself, but I think any tree would take at least 10 swings.
Well, not like a little baby one.
But it's a maple. She kills the bigger one.
Oh.
So anything I would call a tree...
as thick as Richard's wrist. That's not that big.
That's not that big.
It's not that big.
Huh.
Why do you assume that your wrist is the same size as Richard's?
Well, it's got to be approximate. Even if it's twice the size, I think I could fell a tree this thick with maybe even less than 10 swings. I'm thinking of a tree.
I don't know.
I wouldn't call something this thick a tree.
Let me look up.
That's a small branch.
Maple tree.
By thick?
What?
Thick has 2 C's.
I mean, I guess these are kind of thin little...
They thin boys?
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, basically, Kaylin fucks up the tree, and then right after that, Zedd's like, just kidding. Darkenrahl... No, actually, Richard.
Richard spills the beans on that
Richard's like, Zedd, that's not true.
Yeah. Zedd?
Why'd you say that?
I'm quite sure you planted these en memorial for your wife and child.
And so then that was like the lesson here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess does he say the lesson? Yeah, because he basically then he has Richard try to kill the tree.
Yes.
Richard knows that the tree was not planted by Darkenrahl, and then it's like magic will not allow for him to destroy it.
Correct. Richard re-equips the sword.
Yes.
Is now the Seeker again. And yes, he knows now that smaller tree is not evil, and thus he cannot harm it.
Right.
Which is 2 parts of the intent of the magic of the sword.
Yeah, so it's like there's 2 things going on here. One is that your perception is all that really matters.
That's that's the most important aspect.
Yeah.
That we have a long conversation about perception and...
Yeah, so
Richard,
if you think the person is evil...
Yeah.
It will work, whether or not it's true.
Yeah.
But then the other second part that's important is that it actually will stop you from using it if you don't actually believe that this person is
correct.
Bad.
So, like, intent is very important, too. Like, you can't be unsure.
Right.
And I like that one little bit, that the sword knows your mind better than you do.
Yeah. It definitely implies a belief in, like, larger, like, subconscious going on. Yeah. Right?
Is this his Jungian
Kinda.
introduction? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my man likes dreams a lot, so...
Clearly. As we'll get to with Jagang in 37... Right.
Yeah, in like 5 years.
Episodes of this book. Yeah, no, we'll still be in this book in 37 episodes. Never mind.
Yep. And, and then the other big thing that we learn is that when you kill something, the magic takes something from you, and it's like, this is like gonna be really painful and difficult.
Correct.
So anytime you kill, there's like a big magical punishment for doing so.
Yeah, and Kaelin takes a hit from just killing a tree, which was a little confusing, because when Zedd explains it, he's like, when you kill someone, no one is wholly bad. So you will have to suffer for all the goodness that was in that bad person. Mm-hmm. But then she's like on her knees, and he's like, she just killed a tree. Imagine how much it hurts when you kill a person. I'm like, what morals do we ascribe to the tree that she's suffering for?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess, well, maybe because it's like technically she did it and it wasn't true. So like all the good qualities of the tree are now like haunting her.
That's rough.
And I guess they were really good because it was like a memorial tree.
Yeah, that's extra sad though.
Yeah, so she's getting like punished.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you kill somebody, it says the payment is that you suffer the pain of seeing yourself, all your own evil, all your own shortcomings, all the things we don't like to see in ourselves, and you see the good in the one you have killed, and suffer the guilt for having done so.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
It is rough. It's very like, yeah, you have to swallow the yang of the yang or whatever, like.
Yeah, and then Zedd says that anger and rage are so important because they're the only protection against how big these feelings are. Which here's where I'm like, I don't know, I'm starting to take some issue.
Okay, explain.
I don't know. Something about that rubs me the wrong way.
Well, that you shouldn't be able to mask the pain with rage, if it's true.
I don't know. It feels like... something about it feels off to me, like as a message. It's kind of odd.
I feel like it feels very masculine.
Maybe.
And I think you're having issue with it as a woman being like, well, why? Why does the anger work that way?
Yeah, maybe, but like, it's not even why. Like, I could see how anger would work that way, but I feel like it's being postulated or like it's being put forward by Zedd almost as like a hack. Do you know what I mean? Like the tone he has towards it isn't like, and that
this is supposed to be really hard to do, but if you do this one cheap trick,
yeah, like
Seekers love him.
It's kind of like, oh, just so you know, like, yeah, if you could just like get yourself really angry, you won't have to like feel the feelings.
Well,
and that's help. I don't know.
I feel like it is righteous anger. That's what he's talking about.
I know that's probably what it is. But.
So conviction and intent and purpose and righteous anger are all aspects of this. Mm-hmm. So if you cut someone down, you better be damn sure that you meant to, that you are in total agreement that they needed to die.
Right.
You will suffer, but the only thing that's going to help you is knowing that you had so much anger built up at that person for what they were doing that it helped shield you a little bit from the pain. Because then he's saying, like, yeah, you don't have to take the full fucking blast of every time you end a life, you have to now consider all the good things when they were a 9-year-old boy and they pet a puppy. Right. And it's like, yeah, all right, he's a dictator. I killed him. Oh, now you have to suffer. He's like, no.
Right.
If you're killing Hitler, he killed a lot of people.
You're allowed to, like,
know
feel
that he's bad.
Anger.
Yeah, you're going to feel that pain, but you're also going to be like, but I'm so fucking mad at this dude.
Right.
And I'm mad, like, on behalf of the world. I think that's the thing. And that's why he was so angry. Like, Zedd left the Midlands over pretty much this issue. Right?
I guess so.
Them fucking around with the Seeker title.
Well, yeah, in that sense.
And it's like, he's like, because this shit matters.
Right.
If you don't got someone who, like, got the real deal behind them.
Yeah.
You're going to get someone that's just cutting people down willy-nilly. And then Zedd pulls the Trollmeister move of being like, okay, now you get it? You get how to use this thing? Can't use it on Dark and Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Yo!
Okay, see, so Yeah, Richard and Caitlin are very angry about this information. But I was like, it's not that big of a deal. You need the sword to, like, get through all the shit to get to Dark and Raw.
Facts.
For all I know, you could just strangle the guy. Like, who's just, I don't know.
Damn, all right.
Until he opens the boxes, I don't know.
Lauren's just running into the People's Palace of Dahara with her fucking bare hands, just being like, "Where's this bitch? Let me choke the life out of this guy."
I'm just saying, you don't necessarily. We don't have a sense that we
fuck this magic sword. Ding! Let me just fucking.
We don't know enough about Dark and Raw to like be like, we need the sword.
We're about to, and it's no joke.
Probably not. I mean, he is walking through the dead.
This man's walking. The dead are like afraid of him.
Well,
he's storming into hell, and they're like, "Oh no, it's that guy."
Yeah. So basically, if Richard tries to kill Dark and Raw with the sword, he will die, and he's gonna want to because he's gonna be so angry, and the power of the sword is gonna be like, "Use me."
Although I think it's interesting. It's not that Dark and Raw is too powerful. It's that the boxes of Warden protect the person that.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is, that's okay. That's a Deus Ex trap.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's fine.
That's what I mean. I mean, like, the thing itself is the, like, God object. So the God object...
Right.
I'm killing you. No one else can. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so Richard's not happy that he can't use the sword. But then, Zedd's like... It's basically kind of says what I said. Where he's like, it's a tool. It's going to get you to him. But...
Yes.
You... figure something else out.
You got this. You're a seeker.
Right. I mean, we're fucking...
That's the refrain.
We're hella far away from Richard having to deal with that problem. I do find Terry is, like, a little tiresome. The rules. Like, he's just constantly laying out rules and like... It's not that we don't need them. We do, but I feel like it's really dry how they're coming to me.
You mean in the way that he doesn't show you anything and you just...
I don't know how you would show me that.
I'm not sure either. That's fair. I thought about that and I was like, I don't know how you get this much information across without being, like, insane. But he just chose to be, like, just straight up.
Yeah.
You found the wizard in chapter 8 and he's just going to list rules for a couple of chapters now.
It's a little...
Which,
It's tedious.
It's fine. It's fine. And here's why. Because we need all these rules to make sense at the end, right?
Yeah.
And now we have more time for magical dominatrixes.
That's true.
Which is why we're here.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the prize.
People, like, whenever I, like, read random shit on Reddit, where people are, like, talking about the series, they're always, like, talking about that part of the book, like, the magical dominatrixes, like, as if, like, that's a bad thing.
What do you mean?
Like, they're always like, oh, you mean that book where, like, half of it towards the end is just him with magical dominatrixes, like, so ridiculous. I'm like, that's what sold me.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't feel that way when I get there.
We'll find out. No, because here's what I respect about it. This man, he took what is probably the most obviously horny concept you can take of being like, what if magical dominatrixes? And he tied it into the plot.
Oh, yeah.
And these characters are around for books.
Right, it wasn't just
like, oh, that was hot. Like, he was like, I love Kara. I love whoever of Dahara with their red latex. And they come with us. Richard's like, you're some of my best friends. And they're still, like, walking around in their high heels.
Do they actually wear high heels?
I don't remember. I hope so.
I hope they don't.
Whatever.
We'll see. I'm fine either way. So Richard then has an epiphany.
Yes.
It comes out of nowhere. That he's like, oh my god. I don't feel like talking about the fucking logic with this magic and the boundary and the book and how.
It's boring. It's dry as hell.
It's so boring. But it is explained. It makes sense if you if you sit and think about it. I just don't want to sit and think about it.
It's like, Zedd, make a big old promise to me that you did not come through this boundary and you actually, like, walk through it like wizards do. And he's like, I totally did. Did you bring anyone else? No. Promise.
It's because Zedd says something in another chapter where he's like, when we put the boundaries up, there couldn't have been magical items.
Magic at all. There was no magic on this side of the boundary.
Magic could not have been in Westlands when that happened. So that means for the book
of Counted Shadows,
which
Richard lives in his mind vault.
Right, that Richard's dad found and made Richard memorize. that couldn't have been there when the boundary was put up, which then to Richard means that his dad must have had a way to go to the Midlands to get the book and bring it back.
Which
that's the logic.
Is fair. It just didn't need to be explained that way. Richard's dad was a traitor, and he kept coming back with weird objects and chases his friend who watches the boundary. Wait,
why was he saying he was a traitor?
He was.
A traitor?
Trader, like
someone
who trades
Trader,
things, not someone who traitors. Yeah, he's
not AITOR.
No, not a Benedict Arnold.
Right.
But instead, a man who sells goods and wares for coin. So he clearly went somewhere, and at some point got a magical artifact. So that means he had to have crossed the boundary at some point.
That seems like a jump. Like, I don't think I would have been so convinced by that logic, but whatever.
There could be a hole in it. I feel like if I sat here long enough, I can come up with a way that could happen that didn't involve asking Zedd to be...
And Zedd doesn't know about it?
Well, so Zedd's the only wizard on this side of the boundary, according to him. So if he didn't send anyone through, how did he go there and come back? You know what I mean?
Who?
Richard's dad.
Yeah, I don't know.
It works, you know?
Okay.
Assuming there's no other wizards here, which we don't inherently know.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. There's a lot of loopholes for that logic that I think could
that if
happen.
Terry just suddenly was like, there was another wizard,
I'd
be like, I didn't know
so,
it.
like, I don't know. Yeah. Richard's so confident.
He is.
And he's right, but I don't know that I would have been that confident about it.
Thanks.
So he, announces that Kaylin's making stew.
Uh-huh.
They eat it, and then they're, like, making plans. You know what's happening next.
Oh, yeah.
They're eating stew. They're making plans. They're going to pack.
Kaylin only eats half her stew and gives the rest to the cat.
Oh, that's cute.
It's a nice little addendum.
Yeah.
She doesn't overeat, which is important for a young girl.
Yeah. Well,
it is what it is.
Cat, actually... Cat. So Zedd's cat is named Cat, just so you know. So
we're not named Cat.
Just saying it to be weird.
But... A quick addendum. I'm suddenly getting memories that maybe the cat is a person. Is that insane of me?
No, wait. Don't. Are you saying that because I said it in that I said that?
Did you say it?
I did.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're just remembering me saying that.
Well, when I was reading it, I was like, I feel like Cat's a person. But maybe it's because you said it.
That's what I said.
Oh, maybe it's true. It must be true then.
I don't think it's true. I don't think so.
I don't know. And my brain's saying it happens in Dead of Bones, which is like a little novella that he wrote like 8 books in that you didn't read. So why you would know this and not me is weird.
I don't know this.
But Cat's acting like not a cat. But anyway, keep going.
Right, but familiars are smarter.
True.
You know.
True. That's a good point.
Well, Cat alerts us. Mm-hmm. Alerts the group that there's a bunch of people outside of Zedd's house right now.
Yeah.
A large group of men, and it is an incredibly classic scene of men, townsfolk with pitchforks.
They got the pitchforks, torches. They got the torches, they got various weaponry, including like hoes and shovels and pickaxes.
Yeah, and they are crying out that Zedd is a witch.
Yep. He's a witch.
Okay. Help me understand.
I'm going to hit a soundboard button. That's the entire Monty Python skit.
Help me out with this logic.
I got you. Yeah, let's see if I can help. I don't know.
All of people in this age group.
Yeah.
Were around when the boundary was down, right?
Yeah. Good.
So, okay, yeah, so they would for sure be, frightened if they think somebody's a magic user.
Correct, yeah.
But they would have, an established sense of, I don't think they would call them a witch. And I think that their cries of injustice would be, hello, this is the part of the boundary where we all agreed no magic and you're breaking the rules, sir. Nobody's saying that. They're all just acting buffoonish, I ain't never heard of magic.
Like a black and white movie, Coming After Frankenstein sort of thing.
You guys know magic exists. You know about the boundary.
They're all older than Richard, so they've probably been on the other side of this. They know wizards are
I just think
in high positions of power and aren't cranking out
They would
evil.
know the word wizard.
They would. They would definitely know wizard. They would definitely know what spells are.
Right.
They would not call Zedd a witch.
I just think that they'd be pissed off in a very specific way.
While I agree, there's a chance that Terry wanted this to be because of what comes after.
What?
This is all part of the plot of Dark and Raw.
Right, so you think that this wasn't actually them?
Well, I think it was them, but I think it was them, like, via mass suggestion. Like some sort of wizarding spell. He is,
like, hypnoptizing everyone.
Yeah, he's, like, doming the nation, so...
I still think that, like, then Zedd would be like, why are they acting like they don't know what magic is? I don't know.
Yeah, we gloss over that fact.
I just think it was just this whole. I don't like this scene. I'm just gonna say I don't like this scene. I don't like anything about it.
Kaylin tries to appeal to the masses, and they rebuke her.
Mm-hmm.
Richard tries to appeal to the masses, and he ends up cutting someone's sword in half or something. Mm-hmm. And then Zedd, ding ding, which is 2 marks.
What?
On the Riz counter.
Oh, yeah.
Zedd puts his finger on both of their noses.
Well, he says, like, not...
baby girl.
Not strong enough.
Not strong enough.
On the nose.
Baby boy, way too strong. Zedek is Zulzarander just right.
Yeah.
And then he walks up and does the weirdest 2-page...
Hello,
no. I'm sorry, what did I miss?
Yes, he does the nose boops.
Then
he's talking to Kaylin, and he is cupping her chin in his hand. Then, when he's talking to them and telling them, like, I don't know what he's about to do, he has his fingers under both of their chins.
Oh,
like, he's like double... He's double doming.
Double doming. And then at one point he's like doing this.
Yeah.
Doing the like lower lip pout. Like, what should I do, baby boy? And it's like, Terry, what are you doing with Zedd?
I don't know. He wants him to be really hot.
I guess.
I'm confused because...
You can't just say it all.
Well, it's just... I'm like, if somebody was like... coming at us like this, like, I would be like, this guy's trying to fuck us, like, tonight.
And he can.
Probably, but, like,
clearly.
I'm just saying, like...
He has a ferocious appetite.
No part of me would be like, this is casual.
No.
Interaction.
I don't think anything he does is casual. Dude's naked on a rock.
I want to ask Richard, like, has Zedd always been acting like this, or did it just start when Kaylin showed up?
Yeah, wait, like, Richard, have you been coming here since you were a boy and he's been cupping your chin and being like, go get some firewood, little
I want to know if this is new or not. Get Richard on the line.
We need to know. But I think part of it comes from the fact that there's not a goddamn man alive that Zedd's afraid of.
Sure.
He ain't scared at all. As we'll see.
Yeah. So, then, basically, they start... Oh, God.
He goes on some rant to them, to the whole crowd.
Well, yeah, he
gets them all confuddled. He starts talking to them, and they're all like, oh what?
Well, no, yeah, because he's... Well, first he starts with, like, why are you calling me a witch? I'm, like, warlocks exist. And they're like, oh, yeah, so you're a warlock. And then he's like, oh, okay, so if I'm a warlock, you guys must think you're extremely strong.
Yeah, you're all really tough then. You must be like
because
level 20.
Clearly, warlocks are so, dangerous and strong that you showed up with your pitchfork. You must think you could take the warlock on. And they're like...
You gotta know something I don't.
Right. And they're like, yeah, good point. We're scared. We want to go home. Let us go home. I don't know. These men are just acting like little, like, babies.
Like they don't have brains. And, yeah, so then...
Maybe they're Maybe they are hypnotized.
I'm thinking it's like they're kind of like got half a brain.
I hope so.
Or they got, like, mob mentality consciousness. So whatever. He does that.
Can you... I don't want to talk about it. You have to tell them what happened.
Yeah, so he whips them all up and is like, oh, you must be really brave because... And then starts listing all of the horrible things that wizards and warlocks can do. They all start shaking in their boots and like, oh man, I didn't even think this through at all. He could turn us into newts. Which, yeah, like, dude, what are you doing? And then he basically decides... oh, so you're actually cowards? And they're like, yeah, let me go. And he goes, okay, but...
Well, no, wait, I'll say the quote.
Please say the quote, because I didn't write it down.
Well, first, they want to go, and then he's like, well, why should I let you go? You guys tried to, like, come kill me, and that's really important to me, my life.
My life is super important to me.
So, I need to take from you that which is most precious, most dear, most valuable.
Yep. And, ladies and gentlemen, should we ask what you think that might be to a group of virile young men? It's their cocks.
Yeah.
The wizard took all of their dicks.
He didn't, actually.
Well, he tricked them into thinking that he took all of their dicks. Not in any
meaningful way. He literally just says, I took your penises. And then they all start, like, passing out and, like, putting their hands down their pants and, like, screaming. And it's like... And then, so whatever. That happens. They leave. Well, Zedd's like, okay, boys, if you agree to go home, and anytime somebody says magic is bad, you say, no, it's not. Only the person using it would have to be bad. Whatever. And then they're like, okay. And then they leave. And then Richard's like, and Kaylin are like, oh my God, you took their dicks. And he's like, I didn't. I just said I did.
He didn't even say he did. Okay, so my interpretation of this is, and they made it a point, Zedd was droning on and on, getting Richard and Kaylin were bored as fuck, but the people in front were in rapt attention, right?
Yeah, sure.
Makes me think he's casting a spell of suggestion.
Right, I also thought oh no, actually this wasn't when it was. Later. When Zedd is healing Richard from the Gar attacking him, it really had like a hypnotism
but I
thing
think
about
that
it.
Is,
and then
that
I was like,
seems to be,
is he like, maybe he's really hypnotizing people, but so is Dark and Raw. I don't know.
It seems to be that magic involves a bit of perception shifting. So I think that he did not actually remove their dicks.
Yeah.
He just made them think that he took something really scary from them, and then they all collectively... unconsciously decided that losing their dicks would be terrifying.
But here is the question, because Richard kind of says something to the effect of like, oh, you used magic or something, and then says like, no, I didn't. So I'm like, if you told me like this was just like mild hypnotism magic that influenced their perception, I'd buy that.
Yeah.
But like the implication felt like...
Yeah,
he didn't use any magic. So that means he's just any fucking guy in the world could have stood up there and just been like, hey, I took your dick.
I believe what he is claiming is that I did some magic just now, but only a little. I didn't make their dicks actually disappear. I just made them think that
I'll accept
they did.
If the magic was just confuddlement magic or whatever, that's fine. I'm just taking issue with the suggestion
I think his lesson is... You're right, it's like not quite as impactful when you go like, but you did just do magic. It's just only small magic.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, of course you could do that.
But I guess his claim is, I used a very tiny spell and had a giant effect because I was very clever about it.
And that's a good lesson.
And that's true.
But I really did take it when I was reading it as like, my man did no magic. He just was clever enough to say, I stole your dicks, and that was like enough.
Terrible spell.
What?
I stole your dicks.
It's not a spell.
What would that be in Harry Potter world?
What's
I guess Sectum Sempra would do it, but...
Well, that should be the one that just like slices your whole body open.
Accio dicks.
Yeah, that would work.
That would work. Give me your dicks. Can you Accio things that people are holding? I don't know the rules.
I don't know.
JK didn't really give us the rules on that.
That's a good question.
It's alright. Next time. Yeah, sometimes if a trick is done properly, it can work better than magic. In fact, I would go so far to say a good trick is real magic.
Better than magic. That means that he didn't use magic.
That's what that quote means, yeah.
So that means that Zedd literally is just like, if you're just charismatic enough, you can convince people you took away their dicks. I don't think so.
You could talk to me for years.
I don't think so.
I don't think I'm gonna think my dick's gone.
If it's not, and you check, I don't understand.
Oh, there is my dick. I'm good. We're talking some real, like, I don't know, mind fuckery.
Guys, I didn't like this part. I didn't like it.
Okay, but...
Yes.
The men run in fear.
Yeah.
Their dicks are gone, so they think, until they get home.
Well, they think they're going to come back, yeah.
Yeah. But I did like the trickaroo. I did like the little switcheroo at the end. Because they're all patting themselves on the back. Zedd's taking this as a big lesson.
Okay.
And then, but I think that's pretty good. Because the whole thing was stupid. Like, the scene was dumb.
Yeah.
And Zedd's a dumb classical wizard in a way. He's like, look, I get to teach a lesson. I get to show off a little bit of my magic. And Richard's like, wait a minute. We're all being fucking morons.
Yeah.
Darkenroll's on his way here right now. Hundo P, we gotta go.
Yeah.
And Kaylin's like, I believe my boy here.
Right, because then they're like, oh, clearly... I guess they realized Darkenroll must have sent all the men. I don't know how we realized that.
Yeah, well, no, because he was like, we're sitting here congratulating ourselves.
Right.
And we're lulling ourselves into a false sense of security. Darkenroll would have in no way, shape, or form thought a mob of 40 idiots would have taken out the Great Wizard.
I agree. My question is, that makes sense to me, but I'm like, why do we even know that Darkenroll sent them to begin with? Couldn't those guys have all...
sent them?
Nobody. They just could have been pissed off and showed up. I don't know why that would happen.
It felt very...
I don't know why that would happen, but I feel like a lot of things happen in this book that I'm like, give me explanation, and I'm not getting any.
You're not going to get them. Okay. So anyway, Richard makes the right call. We got to go. Mm-hmm. And they go into the woods.
Yes, Zedd takes his rock, which he can change sizes because it's in his pocket, he says. And Kat comes with them. Mm-hmm. And then they're like pretty far into the woods and fucking Zedd's house explodes.
Into a column of fire that they could see from inside the woods.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like hundreds of feet tall, like a big boom.
Sad, but yeah, that's over.
Kaylin does not feel bad anymore for cutting down that tree.
No.
I'm sure it was nuked.
And the not implication, because they say it, that Darkenroll is obviously at the house, and he's, I don't know, Zedd says like, oh, it's because he's angry. So like, was he not going to explode the house? He just got there. I was like, ah.
Well, I think he would have just... No, because he probably would have wanted to kill and take his time with the people there.
To do his, what's it called? His
anthropology reading. Anthropomancy. There you go.
Anthropomancy reading.
Anthropology.
So he explodes the house. And then guards are like watching them from the sky. That's the end of chapter 10.
Yep. I do like Darkenroll always being a big scary threat just off scene. I kind of like that.
I agree.
Because it's like, and he's close. Like, this book loves being like, we're going to explain rules for 2 chapters, and then you're going to run for your fucking life for 2 chapters. Over and over again. Yeah, that's
true.
It's like,
it's building good tension. Like, I am like, I really want to, like, see Darkenroll. When do I get to see this man?
Yeah. I think for the whole series, Terry's very good at being like, you're in society, you're safe, just kidding, at the drop of a hat, grab everything and fucking run.
Right.
The bull is here, the house is on fire, the witches that steal your skin or something are over there. I don't know. Whatever he ends up coming up with. Yeah. So chapter 11.
Yeah, chapter 11. So we end chapter 10 with, like, it's saying, like, Gars are...
They're like, silently swooping in.
They're swanging.
They're swanging.
I don't know.
Gars be swanging.
And then Kat alerts them. Kat's really killing it, these 2 chapters.
Would you agree that this gets the MVC award? Most Valuable Cat?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so MVC Kat jumps over Richard's head. The Gar jumps on Richard's back, but Richard's like kind of ready for it because Kat alerted him.
You got a free alert. Yep.
And Kaylin is throwing rocks at it, and Kat jumps on its face.
Yep. Scratching and clawing at its face.
Okay, do you find, like, I find Terry's fight, like, sequences really confusing. I do not.
I do and I don't.
I don't know if I'm just bored or if it's actually confusing. And, like, I find Brandon Sanderson's fight scenes very easy and fun to read.
Yes, we know. You like those. And I think they are very... They're very good.
Oh, I'm surprised you
Brandon's
said that.
are very easy to follow.
They are. Very cinematic.
While I feel like Terry's tried to do something different. I think Brandon's are very cinematic, very like comic booky, where like you're like he's trying to give you the play-by-play, panel to panel. I feel like Terry is trying to give you like almost like the panic of the moment.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely is doing that. I'm just really struggling as a reader with it. Where I'm like, what the fuck? What's happening? Who did that?
But I think that's the point. I think it's like, because if you are pinned by an 800-pound guard, and you're like dying, you don't know what the fuck's going on. But Vin always seemed to know exactly what was happening.
No, it's not that Vin knew. It's just that we, as the reader, are watching and know.
Omnisciently, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does sit very squarely in Richard's ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fair. Yeah, it's fair to be bored by it or to be confused by it.
In like a Brandon fight scene, it would be like, Vin is confused, but he's telling you what's happening. And he's saying Vin's confused, but here's what's occurring, you know?
Yeah, this is you're on the ground with him, breathing in the dust, and your rib is broken, and you can't see, and so, I don't know. I'll break it down for what happens.
Can you please?
Gar 1 swoops in, knocks Richard down.
Mm-hmm.
Gar 2 swoops in, knocks Zedd into the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Gar 1 is trying to kill Kaylin, but Richard manages to, like, distract him for a second.
Kill Kaylin?
Because she's throwing the rocks.
I don't feel like it gets off of Richard.
It doesn't, but it's like pinning Richard and trying to like swipe at her at some point. And then Richard, over time, is able to get up enough to swang that thing. First casualty of the Sword of Truth. Richard lops off one of the guard's arms, which is sick. And then the guard just, like, kicks him fucking 300 feet anime style into the woods. And he drops the sword.
This is not what I wrote.
Well, that happened.
I'm thinking that... I feel like we're both probably wrong. And it's because the fucking scene is confusing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No. Okay. First... It's on him, and somebody, I was not sure if it was Kaylin or Zedd, sends out a big blast that knocks Richard and the guard apart, and then fire comes out of the woods. And this is not to be mistaken with the fireball that Zedd throws, like, 2 minutes later.
There is an explosion.
Yeah. Who was that?
That is Zedd.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's Zedd.
I was not sure.
That's Zedd nuking the other Gar.
Oh.
So Zedd's fighting one Gar.
I see.
There's a big blast of, like, I don't know, arcane dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
That Gar is toast. It knocks Richard away from the Gar.
Right, and then...
The Gar kicks him at some point, and he, like, breaks his ribs. Richard's, like, down bad real quick.
But then Zedd shows up and he shoots wizard fire at it. And
but not yet, because my favorite part of Richard's fighting style. So the Gar has one arm.
Yes.
Grabs Richard by the throat and like wraps his wings around him and is like about to like bite his face off.
Yeah.
And Richard just kicks the stump arm as hard as he can. And I'm like, that is so badass in the moment to just be like, you know what would hurt a lot? That. So he drops Richard, and then that's when Zedd steps up and goes, "Oh, you thought?"
Does that get a Riz point?
I mean, it should, from like everyone in the vicinity, including the bugs. So Zedd's at like 30 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like the description of the wizard fire. It was fucking cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. We got blue and yellow flames, liquid, and as soon as they hit, they just like wrapped around the Gar and just ash.
Yeah. And the flies too.
Oh, the flies, what was the word? It was like they exploded.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, hell yeah, fuck those flies. That was another part of the fight that was also confusing. It's like Richard's like doing all this shit, like I can't breathe, and it's like blood flies are like biting him everywhere, and it's like, I don't know, it had this like claustrophobia that I thought was kind of cool.
I know what you're saying.
Let's see if it gets more followable later on.
Yeah, let's see. And then Richard is on the ground and he's like, "Oh, my ribs," and Zedd. A couple of things happen here. Really, only two. Zedd is going to help Richard with his injured ribs, and that's when I was saying, like, I felt like he was like putting Richard into like hypnosis like he was like talking, and being like, you're going to feel better, your ribs are going to stop hurting, you're going to be so strong. I don't know if that's what he said. He was like giving him affirmations or something.
Yeah, he was. And what was cool is like, he's like, I'm not healing them. I'm just...
But he did some... No, but he did something.
He sets them and then it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No, because he did say that he did something with magic that was going to like keep them...
Like, bow. I think they were like cracked and it like locked them in place, which greatly reduced the pain, which is super cool.
And so then, while he's doing that, he, again...
31,
yeah. He's hypnosing, that's not a word. Hypnotizing him.
I feel like hypnosing counts as 2 points, so 32.
It's not hypnosing.
I'm aware.
Okay. He's hypnotizing him, and he's, tickling that chin there. And while this is happening, Richard is still holding onto the sword, and Kaylin comes over and puts a hand, she like puts her hand on his hand to like comfort him. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it's like the sword gives like a surge of like power that to Richard feels like it's warning him.
Like, get the fuck away from this bitch.
Yeah, which
and
is
he's like, what? I don't know, sword. You must be crazy.
That's a little upsetting.
And it is interesting because, the scene before, Zedd's like, she's too weak to help. And then during this scene, she doesn't do that much. So what power does she have? I mean, we know. But from Richard's perspective, he's like, I know there's more to her.
Right.
And she can't quite help in these ways, but the sword is terrified of her.
Right.
So that's weird.
But it can't just be like, oh, she's powerful, because Zedd's obviously also powerful. No, and it's not reacting that way to him.
Quite clearly, the sword knows that there's something going on.
Yeah.
And Richard ignores it, so...
Well, she's pretty, know.
Yeah, she is, and very intelligent. We won't get into that again. One thing that I did like in the fight too is that this is finally they showed us something instead of just telling us. Richard was separated from the sword for a moment and was able to
Is that
feel
representing
it.
the sword?
This is the sword of truth over here. When he flared his anger, the sword reacted, and he could see it as if he could see it. Like, he felt exactly where it was.
Yeah, that is cool.
Because he's bound
it's
to
cool
it.
Power.
And it's a cool power. It's your sword. You should know where it is at all times. But...
Only when you're angry.
I'm just happy Zedd didn't have to tell us that. And we finally got got it like, peppered in somewhere.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like hard because a lot of the boring shit is like, here's the mechanics of the boxes. Like, how can you pepper that in?
You can't. He's going to open it when he opens it if you don't know by now.
He has to tell him. And realistically, if you're getting sent on a quest like this and the wizard knows all this information, yeah, he would just fucking say it all in a list.
You could do what Brandon does and just put like a dry italicized paragraph on the front of every chapter to give you background lore. Sorry.
And it would be so exciting.
Would it be?
And
would it be? The Book of Steel or whatever the fuck?
It would be so exciting and amazing when you read it.
Listen, if Brandon ever listens to this, I do love your stuff. But...
It's just our eternal feud.
I got to rip where I rip.
He wants to roast me for this one.
All right, chapter 11, part 2.
Yeah, so they show up at... Okay, finally we're here. Oh, what is this?
I'm trying to... This is how the chapter starts. What do you mean?
What do you say? The chapter?
This is how this starts. Keep going.
Oh, because you're being chased at
Correct.
his home?
Yep.
Okay.
I can't do it to myself.
But I'm your wife.
In that scenario, you were Richard, and I was Big Chase with his big hand full of your hair and a knife pressed to your throat, which is how we get it.
Okay, well, you need to let me know that I'm supposed to be Richard.
Okay, now you're Richard.
Okay. God, this is actually scary. Stop it.
This is how people get hurt. All right. So anyway.
Yeah, so they arrive. Mm-hmm. Chase is on alert. He's got all his knives. My man's always on alert. He's ready to fucking kill at any moment.
He's got like 2 Red Bulls on the nightstand, ready to go.
You have to be careful. You're making me nervous.
Am I? Would Chase make you nervous? Can we do some anthropomancy right now?
Can you fucking relax?
They're like not very sharp.
All right. Well, they show up. Chase obviously lets them in. Although, so then I was thinking like, are they being really shitty right now? Because they talk...
The answer is yes.
Yeah, because they talk earlier about how the cloud is still tracking them.
Uh-huh. only general area.
I understand, but they're bringing them to Chase's house where, like, he's got, like, a million little children. Yeah. I was like, I feel like Dark and Rawl could figure this out. He probably knows who Chase is. He probably knows he's friends with Richard. He knows he's friends with his dad. He probably knows a lot of these things. And if the cloud is in the vicinity of Chase's house, I think DR is going to make his way over there.
DR. We're on initial basis right now. All right. Honestly, you're right. It is shitty. And I think Richard knows what he's doing. And he's saying the fate of all life is at bay here. So we got to do what we got to do. And I think he was hoping on just passing right through. I think that's what he was hoping for.
Well,
but then the Gar attack and all this other stuff, things get complicated out in the woods.
Well, they go in the house. I get. What time do you get the sense that it is?
Night.
Well,
Kids are
asleep. I know it's night.
I'm night, like past night.
But like, are we saying like
2 a.m.?
We think that late?
I'm thinking it's 2 a.m. Yeah.
Because they make a point to be like, it's crazy that his wife is like awake and ready to like be hospitable.
Yep.
And yes, Emma, Chase's wife, is like a pretty
older lady,
older housewife.
She's got the grays, and she's grays for days.
Her hair is up.
It's up.
I didn't just make that up to distinguish between her and Kaylin.
Nope, hair's up.
I did
just like Emma.
I did what it said.
Uh-huh.
And she invites them in. She makes some tea. They are sitting in the kitchen. What?
She cleans Richard's wounds.
Yes, she does. She like scrubs
very tenderly, like wipes the dirt out of his back cuts.
And they mention that Chase's house is made out of huge oak beams that he chopped
carved
down himself.
Hewed himself, made all the beams, made the table.
And then he also carved his children's name into the oak beams, which is really cute.
And he made the fireplace out of stones he collected, and if you pointed to one, he could tell you a story about where he found each rock.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Their house seemed really nice.
Seem cozy.
I said Zedd's house seemed nice, but like their house seems nicer.
Did you get Goldberry Bombadil vibes?
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Because I was like, oh, that's what I'm feeling. Like it feels mystical and potent.
They do seem really cute.
Yeah.
And it all sounds incredibly cozy, and I want to live with them.
Yeah.
So, but
would you share a room with Lee?
I guess. I don't know.
You should have dressed up as Lee. Chase's little girl.
Yeah, and then his daughter comes out because she's like woken up.
Yeah.
And Zedd gives her cat. I guess because they're not going to bring it with them.
No. And Kat's going to sleep on her bed.
Yeah, cute.
It's cute.
And basically, Emma, Chase's wife, agrees to like go outfit Kaylin in like riding clothes so she doesn't have to keep wearing her confessor dress.
Get rid of the ladies real quick. The men need to talk a little bit.
I know it had that vibe, but I don't really understand why.
Also, just before that, Emma running her hair like luxurious, her hand through Chase's hair, like in front of company, and like just like very like.
But it said Chase was like
hornily,
angry
like
about it.
lovingly, dotingly, just like petting him in front of people. And then, that makes me think, right? This makes me think two things.
Yes.
So,
can you take the knives out? Okay, thank you.
Better.
Yeah, I'm less worried.
So, we got Emma. She's running her hands through his hair. Yeah. He's a little embarrassed by it because he's got to be this big, tough guy. Right. Now, we have mentioned many times how big Chase is. Because Richard is big. The Daharans were bigger. Chase is like 4 times their size. So, we got like Hagrid over
here,
so
yeah,
right?
Richard's maple wrists, and then we got Chase...
Oak fucking dick over here. Yeah, like Chase Oakcock. That's why they don't give you a last name, because it's Oakcock. Anyway. So Chase is fucking huge, and then they make a point for Emma to be like, oh, none of my clothes would fit Kaylin. Her shoulders are too broad, and her legs are too long. So that means Emma's a tiny little thing.
Okay, yeah, I thought that... Okay, I was like, they're trying to impart something to us about their sizes. But I was like...
This man's like a boar of a man. Like, he's gigantic.
I think I just like really wanted to picture Emma being a plump woman.
Oh, well.
I don't think she is, though, because then she made that
comment. I guess she could be. She just could be slight and plump.
Right, but I was like, so it's like Kaylin, like...
Kaylin's mad tall. That's... Well, no, because, yeah, Richard is almost the same. Like, their eyes are almost at the same
big.
level. She's tall.
Big. Not like fat, but like she's big.
No, she's like probably like 5'10".
Right. Maybe.
Richard was 5'11" until he unleashed his anger, and now he's 6'1". Canon.
Maybe confessors are just big bitches.
They're
I don't know.
Built different.
Yeah.
You know? Confess.
And, okay, yeah. So I need to ask a question.
Of me? Mm-hmm. Oh, I have an answer, hopefully.
Like a plot-related question.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, so Richard takes out the sword.
Yep.
And he lays it on the table to show Chase.
Uh-huh.
And then Chase is sort of like acting like he's never seen it before.
Yep.
And then Richard's like, shut the fuck up, you've seen this. Why has Chase seen the sword before?
Great question. And
am I supposed to know?
You're not supposed to know yet.
I'm not.
But you are kind of supposed to be like...
I'm just supposed to be like, he used to live in the Midlands.
He lived in the Midlands. He's friends with Richard's dad.
Have they ever said that?
That they're friends with Richard's dad?
No, that he lived in the Midlands. Before this, do I know that? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know.
feel like it was mentioned.
But he's friends with Richard's dad, who clearly has been back and forth to the Midlands. I do believe Chase is older, so he knows of the Midlands.
Okay, but...
Thus the gray hair.
I don't think it has anything to do with him going back and forth, because...
No, so that means
Richard's dad
very
was casually...
specifically...
Yeah.
That Chase has seen the sword.
The fuck does Chase know?
Richard's dad's probably then seen the sword.
Why?
That means all of these bitches were hanging out around little baby Richard, talking to Zedd about wizard shit. Uh-huh. I think this has to do with Chase's fact that he's actually a sleeper cell, not with the government, a CIA onto themselves, some sort of like Black Rock operative.
What are you talking about?
He goes on this rant about how he's only loyal to the Seeker.
Oh, he does,
and he will serve the government of the Westlands when it's convenient. And never when it interrupts his mission or their mission.
Yeah, what the fuck is Chase doing? I'm confused.
So Chase is working for like the Magic Black Rock organization, which serves their own interests. Which is to say,
what's Black
Richard's
Rock?
interests.
What are you saying?
Oh, Black Rock is a paramilitary group that is frequently hired as mercenaries. But
what the fuck are you talking about? What?
Read a book. I
don't know. Ew.
I've never read a book on Black Rock. I just know the name. Don't come for me. So anyway.
Anyway, yeah. So I was confused because I didn't understand why the fuck Chase knew the sword like that. And I thought I missed something.
No, because I think it was like weird. I think he was trying to imply that the way that Chase was not reacting to the sword, Richard was able to glean that he had seen it before. But I don't know.
I don't know.
So Chase knows this sword because they're pledged to the Seekers, so they know about the Sword of Truth.
There? Who's there?
The Wardens.
All of them?
Yeah. It's clearly like a cult of...
The Boundary Wardens?
The Boundary Wardens, yeah.
But aren't they... They seem to be like clearly the Westlands government and stuff is like working with them because like Michael...
They're working for the Westland government when it's convenient and not interrupting their actual shit. So they help the government only as a means to keep the peace. Yeah, the government. They help the government as a means keeping the peace, you know?
So why is... I don't know. There's a mystery here.
Correct.
There's a mystery afoot.
And we'll learn about more of that, hopefully. In it's chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15. You know?
Guys, this is the first time that we're filming at night. We usually film in the morning. I feel like we're being really weird.
It makes us a little odd. All right. Yeah, then he goes on that speech about the rabbits.
Yeah. It's not rabbits. Is it rabbits?
Yeah. So if you want to get rid of wolves,
right,
you don't kill the wolves. You kill their food, which is the rabbits. Implying that in order to... The wolves live in the boundary and are terrible monsters. So in order to keep their population low, the wardens scare away all the humans that are dumb enough to go near it.
Right, they're like, we actually don't fucking care if your dumbass goes into the boundary.
If you're going in, you're a moron. It's the... Yeah.
Except that you're going to feed the monsters and we don't feel like dealing with
Exactly.
those.
So they will beat up, intimidate, and as far as I can tell, murder anyone too stupid to go near there that they can catch.
Yeah,
to keep
enough.
the monsters starved.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
And then, Chase sort of, he again does a little, like, I give my life and...
honor and dignity, duty to the Seeker, whatever. And Richard feels touched. And from there...
So then Richard asks Chase, he's like, buddy, I know there's a pass through the boundary. You gotta show me where it is. Does Chase kind of, like, push back on it initially?
Yeah, he's a little coy, like, I don't know what you mean. And he's like, bullshit. You know what I mean? Where's the boundary? And he goes, better yet, I'll take you there. And then Richard's like, no, I don't want to put you in more danger. And he goes, I'm fucking coming. Right, with his knives out. And that's it. Yeah, if there's just, like, this pathway, I'm just really, like, Zedd doesn't know about it. Kaylin doesn't know. Wait. So that means that all that shit to get Kaylin through, they didn't have to do? So what I'm going to assume is that this is a very hidden and dangerous
Very
pathway.
Hidden. Richard's dad, the tradesman, was just gallivanting back and forth.
Methinks Richard's father, who's not actually his father, was not as buffoonish as you are led to believe, despite the fact that his guts got spilled.
Yeah, but, like, okay, but you are telling... So, like, none of the wizards, none of the confessors, nobody knew. And it's just chilling there. And then they murdered every wizard to get her ass over, and she could have just walked on by.
Convenient for the plot, but yes. That's what
I'm going to need a really good explanation for why... Chase knows about this, Richard's dad knows. I need information.
So it's in a bad part of town in the Westlands, and then I don't know where we're popping out. Probably by the mud people.
It really devalues the
sacrifice,
the intensity of, like, when you first hear about Kaylin going through, and you're like, oh my gosh, and she has PTSD from going through.
Yeah, she clearly didn't get through on. It wasn't like that one's really hard, this one's really easy. It was like, no, the wizard path sucked too.
The only thing I'll accept is if it's in one direction, but it can't be in one direction because he clearly went and came back.
He did.
Fuck this.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Terry will give us a reason. It just won't be a great one.
Until it is, because that keeps happening too.
It does.
We'll see.
But that's it.
Yeah.
That's chapters 10 and 11.
Yeah, they weren't that good, guys.
They were okay. We had a lot of fight. We had a dark and raw, mysterious fire column in the night sky.
Not much happened. There wasn't much to, like, clown on.
Because a bunch of guys thought they lost their dicks, which... How many books have you read a scene like that in? Huh? How many? Next to none.
You're right, yeah.
The Riz count was through the roof, though.
By Riz count, you just mean Zedd...
Well, until someone else shows up and starts rizzing, it's going to have to be all on Zedd's shoulders. His bony, pointy, terrible shoulders.
God,
I don't know. Listen, when we get some magic doms going on in here, we'll have more Riz. We are nowhere near Mord Sith. You are like 7 worlds away from Mord Sith. You don't even know the flavor of the wind near the place where you get the idea of Mord Sith. Yeah, I know you want them. But you gotta wait.
I'm bored.
You got mud people coming up. You got mud people. You think you're bored now? Wait till you get Terry's Native Americans. That's gonna be really good.
I'm so bored. Yeah, give them to me.
Good luck.
Anyway, I really hope that chapter 12 and 13 are more entertaining.
Anyway. Chase out.
Well, next, we have a fun location shakeup for next episode. Yeah, I don't know.
Sharpening me blades for the wolves.
Do you think Chase talks like that?
No.
How do you think he sounds?
Sharpening me blades for the wolves. Not that either.
I don't think he talks like that.
Whatever. It's probably like this.
All right, we can just go. We're done. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
And we're gonna go now because it's late at night.
Bye.
All right, bye.